Hi there, everyone. This is your morning update on Hurricane Florence. Today is September 11th, 2018. The time is 8:19 a.m. Central Daylight Time. This is what Florence looks like on the satellite this morning. I apologize for that glare. Let's see if we can get rid of it. That doesn't really do anything. There we go. That's better. Kind of. This is what Florence looks like on the, not satellite, sorry. Satellite. We are looking at infrared imagery of Florence this morning, and you can see that it's still looking quite intense on the radar or the satellite. It is actually going through an eye wall replacement cycle right now. You can kind of see there's looks like it's a little distorted here. Got kind of like a dual eye wall thing going on. So an eye wall replacement cycle has started, maybe you guys don't know what that is. And an eye wall replacement cycle is when it usually occurs in intense hurricanes from time to time, where an outer eye wall begins to form around the inner eye wall, and it robs the inner eye wall of its angular momentum and its moisture that it needs to intensify. So what happens is the hurricane will actually weaken for a short time, and then once the eye wall replacement cycle is over, then the hurricane actually begins to intensify again. So Florence, however, is still very powerful. It's a Category 4 hurricane. My last update video was a Category 2, and so it made a big jump yesterday from Category 2 to Category 4 in just a matter of hours, really, just about 4 hours it took to make that jump. So it intensified very, very quickly, and so we've only had some slight weakening. We're down 130 miles an hour sustained winds. The central pressure is 950 millibars. It's speeding up. It's moving to the west-northwest at 15 miles an hour. Here's the latest track from the National Hurricane Center. Not a whole lot's changed. It's still expected to make landfall somewhere near Wilmington, North Carolina, by very late Thursday night into very early Friday morning. So again, it is expected to make landfall somewhere around, maybe not directly over, but somewhere around Wilmington, North Carolina. That seems to be the biggest. This seems to be the ground zero, if you will, of this hurricane. Now, keep in mind, it's still just it's still a couple days away. So the track could shift a little bit, but really it's starting to really lock itself down. The exact location could shift just a bit, but still, we're thinking that in this area right here will be the ground zero for Hurricane Florence. So there you go. The wind field is expanding. If we look at the wind history right here from the Hurricane Center, you can see how narrow the wind field was, but now it's definitely expanded considerably over the past, really just 24 hours. A lot has happened with this hurricane in the last 24 hours. Also, probably the biggest change today, you can see these colors on the map. They have finally issued hurricane watches. You can see this shade of magenta, I guess you could say. Is that magenta? Something like that. This shade of color right here, that's a hurricane watch. This hurricane watch was issued for much of eastern North Carolina, eastern South Carolina. You can kind of see the outline of the watch here with this track. So the watch was issued here from basically near Virginia Beach down to the coastal South Carolina, and then includes all of coastal North Carolina is under this hurricane watch. It also includes some inland areas as well. So keep that in mind. Hurricane watches have been issued. You can see some of the major cities that are in it. We have a hurricane watch for Morehead City. It includes Wilmington, Jacksonville, Kenansville, Kinston, Greenville. Those are just a few cities to to name. The Outer Banks of North Carolina are under this hurricane watch. If we go to the north, you see this hurricane watch goes to about Virginia Beach in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. That's where this hurricane watch stops. And then, like I said, this hurricane watch does not just include the coastal areas, it also includes some inland areas as well. And then if we go even farther inland towards central North Carolina, we have a tropical storm watch. This tropical storm watch would include such as the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And then down into South Carolina, we have the hurricane watch, includes Conway, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. So if you live in any of those areas, just know that you guys are now under a hurricane watch, and then coastal areas are also under a storm surge watch. The storm surge watch includes Charleston, South Carolina, and it includes Wilmington, North Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. Many of the areas that are already under the hurricane watch are also under the storm surge watch. And just as a refresher, storm surge is that wall of water that floods in as a tropical cyclone makes landfall. So we're expecting significant storm surge. I actually haven't read the text yet, but we can take a look. Potential for storm surge, flooding greater than 3 feet above the ground. So, I mean, that's pretty significant. Greater than 3 feet. I do expect that the areas near the landfall, so around Wilmington, for the storm surge to be particularly severe. So keep that in mind. Cannot stress this enough, guys, that this is going to be an enormous hurricane. This is going to be a huge situation, potentially catastrophic for the Carolinas. This is something that has not been seen in this area really probably since Hurricane Hugo. But I think this is going to be a very, very catastrophic hurricane impact. So if you live in this area, now is the time to begin preparing. If you haven't already started, it's important to prepare now and get out now, as opposed to later when you may not be able to. I know a state of emergency has been declared for the Carolinas, Virginia, and now Maryland, and then also mandatory evacuations have been ordered for the South Carolina coast. It's also been ordered for the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and I believe the Outer Banks evacuation begins today. So heed local advice. Make sure you evacuate if you need to. If you're directly under the path of this hurricane, do not waste any time getting out of there, because this is going to be one heck of a storm. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. I will continue to provide updates as they become available.